Hello. This video is aimed primarily at students who are going to be doing a Cogneeto assignment. And the idea here is to give those students a sense of the process, because the process with a Cogneeto assignment is a little different from probably most of the assignments you've been typically asked to do. And so it just helps to have a sense in advance what you're going to be asked as you go along. So I'm going to begin by going to the Cogneeto website, www.cogneeto.ca, and you would just put in your username and password and log in. When you do that, the first page you'll come to is what we call the dashboard. And the purpose of the dashboard is just, it's a place where you can get information related to Cogneeto and what's going on. And so specifically, you'll see a couple things in the dashboard. You'll see what we call the course bar across the top here. So any courses that you are in where they're planning on doing a Cogneeto assignment, you will see those courses listed in your course bar. Now this first one is called Dashboard. It's not a course, it's literally this page you're seeing right now, but it's a place where any of your teachers can post announcements to you. So if they have any announcements related to potentially upcoming Cogneeto assignments or current ones or even past ones, they can post those announcements here. You will see them there. You will see the latest one. You can always use the show all to see more. Right now we just have this one here. And you also have a calendar below. The calendar will show this icon for any date in which something is due. So you can actually skip through the calendar and find out when certain events are due, and if all your teachers had events scheduled, you would see a lot of them highlighted here. Okay, so this is just an information page. But the real action happens within each course tab. And so I'm going to go into the grade 9 English one. And what we've done here is we've created a demo assignment that allows me to really walk through the stages with you. But generally speaking, anytime there's an assignment in one of your courses, you'll see this thing that we call an assignment bar. Okay, and the assignment bar always has these four sub-steps here, and usually only one of these would be in green, if one. So essentially, when a certain stage is active, that stage would be green. The other ones would not be. They would just be white. So in this case, all of them are active, and that'll allow me to visit all of them. But again, that wouldn't be typical. What would be typical is you would first go into the create phase, then the assess phase, then the reflect phase. Okay, and those are the three things that you as a student will be asked to do. But then at some point, the teacher will then grade your work, and when the grades are complete, you'll be able to see them in this evaluate phase. Okay, I'm going to focus mostly on the first three, and especially on the second two, because they're really where most of the unique aspects of a Cogneeto assignment occur. But let me start with the create. So the first thing that you'll do is your teacher will create an assignment that you have to now complete. So on this very first page, when you log into the create, you will see, by the way, within each of the phase, you may see that there are steps to complete within a phase. And so this first step is just providing you with the assignment itself. So this is the assignment that your teacher created for you, and it will show up right here, and that will always be present. Okay, you can always maximize or minimize that. Your teacher may also have provided a rubric to help you when you're creating your assignment, and in a moment, as you'll see, when you're assessing the work of your peers. And they may also have included a graphic organizer. So these are things, these buttons will be available throughout the assignment, and you can always refer back to these anytime just by clicking on them as I've shown. Now, in addition, within each phase, there's specific things you have to do within a phase. So this instructions and tips, the first screen you'll always come to in a phase, will give you those more specific instructions about what your teacher wants you to do within this phase. And so in this case, the teacher has set up a written assignment in which a student is supposed to provide an argument related to cell phones and whether they're detrimental or not to learning. Okay, that's just an example. So you would read the instructions and tips that your teacher provided, and then you would simply create your assignment. So far, this isn't all that different from any other sort of essay you might be asked to perform. You can either write your assignment right in this text box here, and you see there's formatting tools available to you, or you could write it in, say, Microsoft Word and paste it in as well. The formatting will all hold, so whichever you prefer. Your teacher may include this next step. After you've written your piece, you may be asked to assess your work. How good do you think it was? So in this case, we're using a star scale. And so you may be asked to, how many stars do you think you deserve? Maybe you think you deserve 3, okay, while you're submitting them. But that's it. First phase, not all that different from what you've seen before. The differences really occur in the next 2, and they're really linked. So let's go into it. So you would be expected to submit your essay by a certain date. When that date was over, you would then go in and assess the work of your peers. So this is the kind of interesting component. Again, the first thing you'll see are your teacher's comments about what you're asked to do. And typically what that will be is something like the following. When you go to the next step, you will see the work presented by some of your peers. Now, a few things I want you to notice. In this case, the teacher has asked the students to assess 3 peers, but that could be anything the teacher desires. But you'll see the peers' work here. You'll also always see your work. You can see your work by clicking on My Assignment. So that's always available as well. Within the work, you'll see the paper itself up top, and then these are the things that your teacher has asked you to do with this work. So one is to assess its quality. Why would we be asking you to do this? Well, it turns out it's a really good learning experience to look at something and try to figure out, how good do I think this is? And so that's what we're trying to get you to do, is engage those thought processes. So we do it by asking you to give a rating, and then asking you to give a couple of comments. Typically something like this. One, a positive comment, tell this peer something they're doing really well, and a constructive comment. These constructive comments are meant to help this student improve their work. So what you really want to do here is find some aspect of this work that you think could be changed such that the work would be improved. And you want to try to express that to this peer as clearly as you can. What could they do to improve their work? Okay, so you'll be asked to do that. Note, you can also do so-called inline comments. If you see little things like, oh, here, for example, if you saw don't and you say it's misspelled, you could just select it and say misspelled over here and give them that sort of inline comment. And then you do that again with each of the peers' work. So you go from peer to peer and you give the comments, and on the bottom the rating and the inline comments. Okay, and again you have the rubric, the assignment, and the graphic organizer available to you throughout. Now, after you rate your peers, after you assess your peers, you may be asked to assess your own work again, where the idea is, well, now that you've gone through this process and you've thought about other people's work, think about your own work. What do you think you'd give it now? And maybe you'd still say, I still think it was a 3. Okay, fine. So that's the assess phase. Now, here's the kind of cool part. As you were assessing your peers were also assessing your work. So your final step will be literally to see the assessment. So you begin with the instructions and tips again, but then you get to this page where now this is all your work, as you see, as we skip through, but at the bottom you're seeing the comments that each peer gave to your work, including these comments where they're trying to help you improve it. There, you're also seeing the rating this peer gave, so you have a sense of what they think the quality was. And now it's your turn, in a sense, to react to this feedback, to think about the feedback, and to decide how useful you think that feedback was. Okay, so you're asked to do that, and you get all these comments throughout, and of course you will get these from each of, in this case, 3 peers, how many ever your teacher sets. Okay, now remember, all of these peers are trying to help you improve. That's your next step. You now, after reading all this, get a chance, you go back to your initial assignment that's here, and you get a chance to revise. After you revise, your teacher may ask you to reflect on what you've learned throughout the whole process, and you may again be asked to self-assess. In this case, both your draft and your revised assignment.